What's the dumbest way you've gotten a scar? I have a scar on my forearm from a weaponized paper airplane I taped razor blades to and launched with a rubber band. Science. The difference between science and peeping around is whether or not you write it down. Edit. Adam Savage. I got cut by a vacuum. A peeping vacuum. Elaborate, my friend. Spider on my arm. Violently jerked on as an attempt to get the spider off. Vacuum was there. Scar. For my 8th birthday, a classmate got me something like a grow your own stalagmite kit you could buy at educational stores. Apparently, the purpose was to add water to some powder material and use a funnel in the kit to drip it down to make your own cave features. Exciting. I know. Anyway, I kept it and the other birthday presents I got in a cardboard box in my room. Evidently, at some point, moisture got into the box and the plastic the powder was in, and it began expanding. Having nowhere else to go, the stalagmite material oozed its way out through the narrow slits in its box and hardened into razor-sharp edges. I found this out quite bloodily when I put my hand into my birthday box to grab another toy and pulled it out with permanently altered fingerprints on my thumb, index, and middle fingers. Ouches. Playing manhunt. Some idiot made the campfire area base. I was running for my life to get there, jumped this huge pile of firewood, tripped over something, and rolled right into the fire. It could been so much worse, but I only burned my elbow and some of my hair. It's been probably 15 years and the scar is only about 3 inches long and 1 wide. I used a pressure washer on my foot. Geez. I pressure washed my entire roof barefoot and hid my feet a few times. I wouldn't think it could scar. I don't have any decent scars, despite being the kind of guy that pressure washes his roof barefoot. Injection injuries are no joke. They can well and truly peep you up. This video is simulating high pressure hydraulic fluid as an example, but a pressure washer would do almost the same thing. Not so fun things to swap out with your bidet 101. I got hit on the bridge of my nose by a ceramic toilet seat when I was learning to pee like a big boy. Now I think about it, that's probably the best outcome there. Why was your nose close enough to get hit? I was just learning to wee in the grown-up toilet, and I thought I was clever. Went to my grandparents' old clanker of a toilet without a step or anything. Tippy toes to get any sort of beat on the target. The lid was one of those that you think is going to stay up, but actually needs holding, or it falls down. I didn't know this, it fell down. Woo. You could have taken a fatal hit if you weren't defending with the other head. I was trying to squeeze between 2 cars. One of the cars must have had a jagged bumper because it sliced a 2-inch gash in my leg. At first I was thinking you were driving a car yourself and wondering how the peep you scarred yourself while inside a car. He was the car. Car to human conversion therapy is rough. Edit. RIP my inbox. My brother, sister and I all have the same kind of scar in our left eyebrow and got them at the same age. My brother opened an empty dresser drawer and smacked himself in the face. My sister ran into a brick wall and I fell off the couch onto a coffee table. I'm picturing this all happening in the same 5 minutes and your parents come home to everybody bleeding out. Blood everywhere. Kids quietly playing video games in the living room, bleeding profusely from their heads. Boys from my class were throwing CDs like you throw frisbee. One of those hit me right between the eyes. Still got a small scar there. You should be thankful they didn't decapitate you. I'll make sure to send them basket of fruits or something. Basket of CDs. 7-year-old me was helping my mum iron clothes. I pulled on the cord. The iron fell and smacked me right in the face. I still have a scar above my right eye. I got Home Alone vibes from that. Skull fracture with epidural hematoma. Marv is dead. 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 1 was fine. Sure, they took WAAY too much damage to be realistic, but it's a kids movie. 2 was ridiculous. Kid threw a goddamn brick from a 4-story building and cracked his skull. He got electrocuted and turned into a skeleton. If they didn't die in 1, they peeping died in 2. I have 2 from when I was a kid. Running around in the dark on a school roof. Tripped over and ripped my hand to shreds. Jumping and sliding on a door that had been kicked in. Jumped straight onto a nail that went in my knee. I was a stupid kid. What do you mean by ripped my hand to shreds? Multiple deep cuts. Lazy me liked to iron clothes while wearing them when I was 20 years old. My left arm can testify. So you are the reason for that ridiculous warning label. Lol. I was 7. Mum said don't use that knife to cut that orange. I used that knife to cut that orange. Things I learned. Orange juice in a wound stings, but not as much as the knowledge you can't go crying to your mum. Yeah. Can't go to your mom. You don't want to look like a no. J. Wimp son. So I broke my right arm when I was a kid, then decided to put a cast on me. My skin under my cast is so itchy. It's like my skin is alive. When 2 months have passed, I decided to scratch my skin under the cast using a pen, since my fingers couldn't reach further areas. While doing so, I accidentally put the pen further away inside that I can't remove it under my cast. Since I can't reach it, then I just ignored it after that, thinking that it will be just fine, and I didn't tell that to my parents since they would be mad. After 2 months, they decided to remove my cast since it's already due, but the night before removing my cast, my mom noticed that my arm smells rotten. So fast forward. They removed the cast in my arm in the hospital, then they noticed that the pen was penetrating my skin for months and the hole is about the size of a penny full of pus. I didn't even feel a thing. After that, the hole eventually became a penny-sized scar in my skin. A similar thing once happened to me. I always have an earring in, but since they're small I never take them out or even touch them. A few years ago, I wore it a little too tight, and when I tried removing it, I realized I couldn't. So I asked my mom to help, and she said my skin started growing over my earring. It didn't leave a scar, but I've kept my earring loose ever since. Edit. Wow. It's nice to know so many people did this when they were little, and then here I'm doing it as a teenager XD. This happened to me too. I was around 8 years old and my gym teacher noticed that my lobes were scabbed over. She sent me to the nurse, who then called my dad. We went home where he sat me at the kitchen table and attempted to remove the earrings. It was a screaming match of me telling him it hurt and him telling me to stop wiggling. It took about an hour to sort out both ears. Neither scarred, but we did have to let them heal closed, and I waited about a year before getting them pierced again. I tried cutting open a lemon with a fork. Edit. The fork slipped and entered my hand. But I guess the sharp lemon theory will do. Thanks for the award, kind stranger. How did you get the scar? He tried cutting open a lemon with a fork. How did they get the scar? Lemons are sharp. A big sip of s'more juice. Don't touch the iron, it's hot. Can't be that hot. Narrator. It was. You should have checked your tag to see at what setting to set the iron for human skin. Oh, so that's what skin tags are for. Where are they attached? The skin. I've got bitten by a guinea pig. Worse than that, a friend of mine was bitten by a snail. Edit. As you/Flumpybum pointed out, snails don't bite, as they don't have teeth, but a wee rasp-like tongue. I'm aware of that. But writing getting licked by a snail until it hurt cold led to confusion. I didn't even know snails bit. Her neither. She learned. Fur needle cut me across the wrist while playing hide and seek out in the woods. A fur needle. Those bastards are sharp. I've still got a couple of scars on my hands from decorating at Christmas. It didn't even break the skin but still scarred. I have one on the back of my hand from rubbing the skin off with a pencil eraser longer than the other kid did when I was 13, just to prove I was tough. I've done this with the salt and ice challenge. Fun fact. Don't put salt on your arm and then cover it with ice and press it down. You'll burn your flesh off. Well, now I don't believe you and want to try it myself. You won't feel it until it thaws and you'll have a huge scar. Straight up accelerated frostbite. I can't believe this isn't common knowledge. These guys gonna come back and be like "Speep it burns." When I was 5, I was spinning around in the living room and then fell face first into the coffee table. I have a scar on my forehead from that mayo. When I deliberately cut myself. Not seriously. I just wanted the word ninja on my hand. Don't ask me why. I gave myself a scar across my eye because I was drunk, watching Revenge of the Sith, and thought it would look cool. I take it, you didn't have the high ground. Don't need it. So many people underestimate my power. Well, judging by the scar, it looks like you shouldn't have tried it. How would you know what it looks like? You've been spying on me through my webcam or something? Punching concrete. Don't ask why I did it. I have no peeping clue. This is the definition of a 17-year-old boy with his friends. Yeah, nah, it doesn't stop at 17. Or even peak. Do boys ever grow up? Only on the outside. Was about 4, broke a glass jar and sat on it. Gotta assert your dominance. Was in the Scouts whittling a stick for funsies. Except I was pushing the blade in the wrong direction and whittled my index finger instead. Trust fall with my brother. I trusted him. I fell. Your brother sometime after that. Trust me. You. Show scar never again. I was headbanging my hair dry in the bathroom. I hit the counter. I was 8. Drunk. And leaned down to kiss a strange dog on the nose, of all things. 27 stitches down my nose later. I got drunk on 4th of July and fell in a utility hole thing in my friend's yard and then got sunburned, so the scar never healed properly. My mother and brother were arguing about ice cream cone sizes, so my brother stormed off. I followed him back to a villa thing we were staying at. He didn't have a key and we didn't want to wait, so I just punched through the glass in the sliding door to make an entrance. There were probably 1,000 other safer ways to do it, but it just seemed the quickest. Peeping ice cream cone sizes, man. My cat decided one day that feeding him was not enough and full on grappled onto my arm, digging in deep. Got a pretty nasty infection from that. And now I've got 2 nasty scars next to my wrist. My sister's cat uses her hot tub as a platform to get on and off the conservatory roof. It decided to jump off the roof while we were in the hot tub one night and jumped into the water. My daughter now has a set of scars where the cat climbed her like a ladder to get out of the hot tub. I was heating up oil in the pan for the chicken. A chicken fillet slipped out of my hand and onto the handle of the pan. The pan flipped and launched the boiling hot oil all over my hand. It hurt. A lot. I have many burns from the oven from my first year at uni. I didn't have oven mittens, so I just grabbed everything with my bare hands. Second year I was prepared. Got mittens. First attempt as I was taking a baking tray out of the oven. It slipped from the mittens and burned my inner elbow. Still got that one. I used to thoroughly enjoy sliding down grassy hills as a kid. One fateful luge led to me running over a hidden rock, resulting in a permanent rear tire puncture my right butt cheek. I have a white dot from where a wasp stung me almost 20 years ago. I punched a pint glass one night when I was drunk back in college. It ended up slicing my finger really badly, like there was a flap of skin that came up. Went to the bathroom and ran it underwater, but it just kept bleeding. I didn't know what to do and was too drunk to try to deal with it. So I just wrapped my hand in a towel and tried to go to sleep. Woke up to knocking at my door, and it ended up being security. He followed a trail of blood from the bathroom to my room and wanted to make sure I was alright. I showed him my finger and he was like, "Come on, you gotta go to the hospital." Dude was a bro and drove me there, even though it was like 3 AM. Saw a doctor and he had to give me a bunch of stitches. He said I was very lucky because if it was just a tiny bit deeper I would have probably had done permanent damage and lost mobility of the finger. Now I have a thick scar on my finger, shaped like an Ike's whoosh to remind me not to be stupid and try to fight glass. I did similar, but with an old vehicle headlight. Those really thick actual glass ones that were in early 80s Toyotas. Did it about 8 PM. Did basically the same as you, except nobody woke me up. Went to work the next day and a supervisor drove me in 4 stitches. Watched them cut a chunk about the size of a US 50-cent piece out of my wrist/forearm. Permanent nerve damage and still quite a bit of pain from it over 20 years later. I have a 40-year-old scar on my forehead from a wood stove. Fun times. Would not recommend. I have multiple scars on my thumbs from slicing my thumb open on cans of ravioli and spaghettios. Okay C's. Whatever you do, don't put your finger in the boiling sugar because it's real damn hot and it sticks to you. Puts finger in boiling sugar. Cutting a pretzel open to put butter in it. I cut my right ring finger. Tripped over a peeping football and destroyed my nose and forehead. It didn't leave a scar, but I think it has something to do with the fact that I basically can't smell anything. This happened when I was 6. Kicked a refrigerator as hard as I could while wearing slippers after my sister told me she was getting a divorce. Fridge won, but I did get a dent in the bastard. I read that as your sister was divorcing you. I was concerned for a bit. I climbed up the drain pipe of a school. Put my thigh in the spike that's supposed to stop me from climbing. Didn't stop me from getting to the roof. Edit. Spelling. Bit myself. I saw something I didn't want to forget and thought I'd remember it every time I saw the scar. Realistically, I wasn't going to forget it anyway. I remember thinking I'll regret this scar, even as I was doing it. What was it that you saw though? Cat.